Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Spiritual Spotlight series. Today, I'm joined by Nadia Gledhill. She is well known for her skill in quantum healing hypnosis technique, also known as QHHT, which we'll reference in the interview, and her past life regression group workshops. I am so excited you're here, Nadia. Thank you so much for coming on the Spiritual Spotlight series.
Thank you for having me.
So let's just jump right in. Can you explain what quantum healing hypnosis technique, QHHT, is and how it differs from traditional hypnosis?
Sure. Well, quantum healing hypnosis technique, it's a form of past life regression and connection to the subconscious or higher self. And it was developed by Dolores Cannon. And I find so many people who aren't aware of quantum healing hypnosis technique are aware of Dolores Cannon. She tends to pop up in our news feeds and YouTube and things like that. But it's a regression method where you are guided to go to the most appropriate time and place by your subconscious. So, the benefit of that, or the beauty of that, is that as practitioners, we don't guide you exactly where to go because we don't know what the most appropriate place for you to see is or time and place. Neither do you consciously, but subconsciously, you do. And so we allow the subconscious to bring forward whatever experience it feels you need, where there is information that you need at this point in
Yeah.
your life. And now that could be a past life in most cases. It could be a parallel existence. It could be a future life. It could be even back to your current life, or what I like to call journeying through consciousness, which is where you may just see colors or flashes of pictures. You don't have a physical body. A lot of cool things can happen in that space. But then we connect with your subconscious and find even more answers to things that you need to know. And I suppose it differs from traditional hypnosis. And so when I think of traditional hypnosis, I think of, clinical hypnosis, like you'll quit smoking, lose weight, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And those forms of hypnosis are designed to, I suppose, implant suggestions when you're in a hypnotic state to allow you to quit smoking or lose weight or whatever the case may be. Whereas I find with quantum healing hypnosis, it's in reverse rather than the
Mm.
practitioner implanting suggestions. As practitioners, we don't do that. We ask questions and we get information. So it's almost a reversal of the way the information flows, if that makes sense.
No,
So it's much
absolutely.
more
I
basic.
do like how the sessions flow. And like you said, it's the client that's guiding the session to where their subconscious needs them to go to for the healing. So what inspired you to specialize in QHHT and past life regression?
Well, I always knew I wanted to help people from a very young age. I just didn't know how. And it wasn't until I had my own session, and well, it was actually several months after my my own session when I realized um, how much it had helped me in my life, how far I had come in a lot of areas of my life, just by really implementing, or really by things coming to my conscious awareness from my subconscious, and me being able to overcome certain things in my life, move on from certain things, understand things from a different perspective, which then allowed me to move on and do so many things that I otherwise wouldn't have done. And
Mhm.
it was from that moment that I realized that I thought, wow, like, this can do this for me, then I need to do this for everyone. So that sort of inspired me to seek becoming a practitioner.
I love that. So one of the amazing things with QHHT is that you go into the subconscious. So how does the subconscious, as defined in QHHT, differ from the conventional understanding of the subconscious mind in psychology?
Okay, so this is an interesting one. So in psychology, obviously, the subconscious mind is it's that shadow part of us. It's that part of us that is our software that runs our system, that drives us, but we're not consciously aware of it at all times. And in QHHT, we call it the subconscious, but it's more probably known these days as the higher self,
Mm.
is a really common one, or the oversoul. It's that part of us that knows everything. And, to be honest, I think the only reason we call it the subconscious is because that's what Dolores called it by her own admission.
True.
She called it that in her early days because she didn't know what to call it, what she was tapping into. And so, through the training and through the ongoing things that we watch and read, Dolores always calls it the subconscious. So I think, we just out of habit call it the subconscious, but it does differ greatly. I mean, the subconscious or high self, it is that part of us that knows everything, but more interestingly, it's that part of us that is part of the collective consciousness. And, I've had that verified many times in sessions where clients will give the same kind of answers to questions, even about world situations and things like that. That's, if the client has those kinds of questions for their session, because it is tapping into that collective consciousness. So
Yeah.
it's very, very different from the psychology subconscious, which is, I suppose, unique to that person. It's that deeper part of their mind. This is tapping into that higher self and part of that collective consciousness as well.
Yeah, I find it fascinating when you're speaking with the higher self or the subconscious and the information that comes out, and you're like, that's not my client. Like it is
It always sounds
fascinating.
very different. Yeah.
It's very like,
Yeah.
no. Okay. It's fascinating. So can you maybe share a particularly impactful experience or story from one of your past life regression sessions?
Yeah. So when you say past life, I assume, do you mean QHHT
Either
or?
one, because you do both.
Yeah,
You do
yeah,
past
yeah.
life
So
regressions, and we also go in past lives with
I
QHHT.
do.
So either one that you feel called to share.
Yeah, okay. Actually, there was an interesting one very early on in my practice where a lady had come in and she had, well, one of her questions that she came in with, because we ask clients to come in with questions and things they want to find out, was why she felt this strong connection with her partner's best friend. And it wasn't in the romantic sense,
Yeah.
it's like that soul connection, that karmic connection that you feel. And
Yeah.
he felt the same. And they had a joke, I'm going to joke about it, but she was very curious about why that was. Anyway, she was shown a past life where they were actually married and he died from a very young age. I think it was a heart attack at a market type outdoor market
Yeah.
setting. And he would have been young, like early 20s or very early 30s. And she left me a message the following day, a voice message, saying that she spoke to him and explained to him, this is what I saw, this is what I was told. And he was mind blown and said to her, wow, he goes, I've never told you this. He said, I had a past life session and he saw the exact same life. And I know, and that was a real, she was flipping out on the phone. She was like, oh my God. She's like, and I, of course, I'm saying, send him to me. I'm explaining
Absolutely.
to,
Absolutely.
yeah, I know being moved from the state at that point. She's like, oh, but definitely if he's ever back, I'll send him your way. But yeah, from a past life perspective, that was pretty cool
That's
to
amazing.
have that. Yeah.
I'd be curious to see like how their relationship evolved from both of them having these aha moments and these past life sessions.
Yeah, it would be interesting actually. I don't know from his perspective, but I know from hers, well, in the early days from her hearing about it, I haven't heard from her since, but she, I suppose for her, she felt more at ease
Mm,
just knowing where that
yeah.
connection was from. As humans, we're just nosy things, or we need to know everything and have explanations for everything. So I think for her, it just put that to rest.
Yeah.
She could stop thinking about it now, but and obviously it's a cool experience.
It's a totally cool experience. I like that you shared that. What do you think are some common misconceptions about past life regression and QHHT?
Oh, I think a real common one is people think that they're going to be knocked out, put to sleep,
Mm,
won't recall anything. Um, and I always explain to my clients that's not how it works. You don't go to sleep. We call it sleep. It's just a different form of, I suppose you're in a different brainwave state, right?
right.
But you're not actually asleep in that sense. We still need you to be able to talk to us because that's how the session works. It's a two-way conversation. You're just very, very relaxed. I think that would be the biggest
Yeah.
misconception out there, is that you should be out of it, asleep, wake up, don't remember anything. I mean, and look, that does happen from time to time, but it is very, very, very rare. I mean,
Yeah.
most people, levels of consciousness have evolved to the point where they don't need to be completely knocked out in order to receive information from their subconscious.
I like that you brought that up. So what do you think what role does the client's belief system play in the effectiveness of a QHHC session?
Oh, good question. I think that, well, I think it plays a role to a certain
Hmm.
extent. I think if people didn't believe at least a little bit, I mean, you wouldn't book and go for a session, right? So
So true.
I think they have to believe to a certain extent, but I think it probably would impact the way that the subconscious would present the information to them, perhaps, in terms of um, how it presents it. I often say to people, it's not that initial past life regression or whatever experience they have part that
Yeah.
is the most important about the session. It's the connection with the subconscious or the higher self, and making sense of it all and getting their information.
Yeah.
That initial part is really not even the information. That's where we're gathering clues. And so I think it would impact how the subconscious presents those clues, whether it be a past life or words, images, feelings, journeying through consciousness, going back to their current life. I think
Yeah.
that's where it would impact it, which doesn't really matter how or what is presented to the client at that point anyway,
Hmm.
because that's just the clue gathering part.
Yeah. I like how you put that. It's almost like when you're going through these past life journeys, you're gathering clues to answer the questions that they brought to you to prepare for the session. And then when you connect with the higher self, then you're getting the meat and the potatoes.
Yes, yes, it actually pieces it all together.
That's the part I like the best. So have you launched your inner portal society yet?
It's almost ready. So
Okay.
I've actually just received the next invoice from the developer, so I have to pay that. But it's yeah, almost ready. So I'm just going through some testing stages to get bugs out of the program.
So what are the goals for this
And
community and educational space?
yeah, so I set it up because I came across a lot of people who I suppose felt a bit lost, in terms of their, whether it be, spiritual well-being, and even
Mhm.
just into holistic care, and different ways of being able to look after yourself mentally, spiritually, physically. And when I say lost, there's a lot of information out there and a lot of courses you can do, workshops you can attend, but then people are left wondering, well, now what? Unless they sign up, which a lot of people don't want to do, you sign up for
Mhm.
an ongoing subscription, or you do, there's nowhere to go for information that's consistent with
Yeah,
what you've just
you're
learned
right.
or expands on what you've learned, right? So I thought, right, so I wanted to create a space which was like a mini Facebook slash mini Instagram thing where people can have their own, news feed, share pictures, share experiences. It'll have separate, or has separate groups as well
Yeah.
for different interest areas that people can join, people can make friends, all of that. It's like a social network. But there's also a component where we list what we call events, which are live streamed. So that was a big thing for me. They had to be live streamed, not pre-recorded.
Nice.
Um, Sessions run by people who work in these kinds of fields, and they could be running, I don't know, meditations or inner child workshops or whatever it could be. But they run them live, and people, I mean, that's the only part, people would have to pay to attend if they want to register and attend a live event. But the benefit of that is that they have that live conversation with the person, with the instructor who is running that event.
Yeah.
And they can also then, connect with, chat with people who have just been through that course as well, or done that little mini workshop, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
on that platform as well. And the benefit of that is, taking it off sort of those bigger mainstream social network sites, there's less of the distractions. You know that you're going to only be with like-minded people because that's what the platform is designed for. You know, it's
Yeah.
all sort of the spiritual and holistic wellness fields and topics and things like that. So it's more of a place to feel comfortable, you know, not judged, not watched by whoever's watching us on the bigger networks, you know, with all their, you know, software things that they spy on us with and all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. So free of all of that. And just a place where, yeah, people can connect, but also with the instructors who are running the courses as well, you know, ones that I've spoken to and want to come on board are very keen for it because they feel they can reach more people and also help support people better by engaging with them either before or after the workshop, you know, on their, like in a group or on their wall if they're connected like friends, or you know,
Yeah.
it's much nicer. It's more of a sense of community as well as, you know, learning and sharing knowledge and things like that. So
I really
really looking
like
forward to that.
I think that's really cool that you're bringing together it sounds like a lot of different practitioners that have, are skilled, spiritual awakening, holistic wellness, all these different fields that you're offering, your clients an avenue or all their clients an avenue to come and connect. I think that's going to be a beautiful thing. It's amazing. That's really
Yeah, well,
cool.
I hope so.
That's that's really cool. Like, let's say I have a big audience of a lot of spiritual practitioners. Can they reach out to and apply to be a
They can. I am very when I say they, yes, they certainly can. So they can contact me either by email at hello@theinnerportalsociety.com.
yeah,
Or I mean, they can reach me through my normal channels as
nice.
well. When I say normal, through the QHHT stuff, it's fine. But to become an instructor, you know, you don't have to join the platform as a user, and there is an apply button.
Nice.
But I do ask for some information up front, and I will be, you know, speaking to and interviewing people who
Of
want
course.
to come on board, because I don't want, you know, I want quality instructors.
Of
You know, I
course.
don't want people just signing up and running it. You know, I want to make
Absolutely.
sure, okay, do they have experience? Do they know what they're talking about?
Yeah.
So I'm going to be, you know, a little bit picky in that sense, not overly picky. I mean, you know, you can't get a PhD in, you know, inner child work or breath work, but it's, you know, I want to make sure
Yes, I
that
can.
experience, they know what they're talking about. Yeah, I know, right? But, you know, I just want to make sure that they know what they're talking about,
Of
and
course.
that the people who are attending these, that way they know they're going to get quality.
Well, it's your reputation also on the line for this, and this portal. So, I mean, you're backing
Yeah.
this up and you're screening and vetting, the people that are coming through. So you want to have
Yeah.
high quality practitioners, of course. I love that.
And I just think if I don't, then it's no different to Facebook or Instagram, where anyone can start a group and go live and run things or organize
Yeah,
things, and you know, what's the difference? So I think someone has to vet them at least to make sure that they're, you know what they're talking about, they have experience. And you know, it also has a function in there where people, after the live event is finished, it will send them a notification and ask them to rate the experience, you know. So
nice.
the instructor themselves receives a collective rating over time, which people can see, you know. So if the instructor's doing really poorly, you know, or quite bad, you know, obviously there's something to address there.
Yeah,
But you know, hopefully keeps everyone, you know, keeps the quality at the level where we want it.
I'm excited. I'm going to apply after this, guys.
Yeah.
I think I'm
Yeah,
joking. I'm
put your,
not.
I need lots of instructors.
I'm like,
And you
guys,
know, the good thing is yeah, yeah, and the good thing is, you know, I haven't done a lot of promotion about it. I've been so
yeah,
busy with everything else, and I've been saying to all of the instructors who are interested, you know, like, you know, I believe in um, collective effort, and you know, and people
yes,
are stronger as a collective group.
absolutely.
So I think, you know, there's the instructors can benefit from this platform. People who want to join, you know, who are going through their own experiences, will certainly also benefit from the platform. And so I've said to many instructors, you know, if you want to join and run your events on here, please invite your following, like get them to
Absolutely.
attend your events through this platform, because if we all do that, you know, it has that sort of, you know, that domino effect, that collective effect of every instructor being exposed to everyone else's clients who have come on board, because there's something for everyone, right? And
That
people
sounds
can then be
amazing.
exposed to things they may not have thought of looking into before.
100% agree with you. So I'm going to ask you a question about QHHT again. So what advice would you give to somebody who is skeptical but curious about exploring maybe past life regression and QHHT?
Yeah, I would say if they're skeptical but curious, like, just do it, but have an open mind. I mean, it's important to have an open mind going into the experience anyway, because you never know what you're going to get, right? You never know what's going to come through. But, do it and have an open mind, because whatever comes through will be what you need at that point in time. So
Mm,
if you go into it without an open mind, without a willingness to just accept and allow the information to come through whichever way it wants to, then you're sort of doing yourself a disservice. You're not going to receive information you need if you sit there thinking about it or wondering, is this right? Is this true? What's going on? Just allow it to come through,
yeah,
and just drop any expectation, whatever that may be.
I love that. Before I ask you last question, if somebody's interested in learning more about you, what is the best place for them to go to?
I've got a website, which is qhtaustralia.com.au. I also have my Instagram, which is qhht.australia. They're probably my two main channels. You can contact me anyway through those.
I love that. So, as somebody who has guided many through spiritual awakenings, what essential advice would you give to our listeners who might just be beginning their spiritual journeys?
Oh, be kind to yourself is a big one. I think, people put a lot of expectation on themselves and their journey, and everyone's journey is different. So be gentle and be kind with yourself. And yeah, that's probably my biggest piece of advice I would give people.
That's really beautiful advice. Nadia, I want to thank you so much for coming on the Spiritual Spotlight series. It's truly been amazing to speak with you today.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.